this being my first subdivision meeting,
It
you're
is?
gonna have to just assume I don't know what's going on. Or when I got moved to subdivision, I haven't been. Appointments is the first one of these.
You'll catch on pretty quick. You'll do fine. This is only my third chairman meeting, so I'm still catching on to that.
This one.
Yeah, right. Welcome to the January 2nd, 2025 Subdivision Utility Advisory Committee. Belated Happy New Year to everyone. I will call for opening announcements, please.
Before we begin the agenda, the Wichita-Sedgwick County Metropolitan Area Planning Commission would like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to this public hearing. Copies of the agenda for today's meeting, the public hearing procedure, and Planning Department staff reports on all agenda items are available on the counter in the lobby. The Planning Commission's bylaws limit the applicant of a subdivision application and his or her representatives to a total of 10 minutes of speaking time at the start of the hearing on that item, plus up to 2 minutes at the conclusion of that hearing. All other persons wishing to speak on agenda items are limited to 3 minutes per person. However, if they feel that it is needed and justified, the Commission may extend these times by a majority vote. All speakers are requested to state his or her name and address for the record when beginning to speak. When you are finished speaking, please share your name, address, and the case number on the sheet provided in the room. This will enable staff to notify you if there are any additional proceedings concerning that item. All speakers at the podium, please remove your face mask before speaking into the microphone.
Do we have the roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Bill Johnson.
Present.
Zimbelman.
Here.
Dool is absent. Klontz. Blick is absent. Mater.
Here.
Williams Bay.
Here.
Sir, I show 5 members are present, 2 are absent, and neither of the alternates are here.
Okay. Thank you, Scott. We'll move on to our first case, which is a vacation item request. It's located on the east side of North Rock Road and within 200 feet north of East 35th Street North. Could we have the staff report, please?
Good morning, Subdivision. Philip Zievenbergen with planning staff. Vacation 2454 is a request to vacate a portion of complete access control on the east side of North Rock Road, just south of 36th Street and actually just north of East 35th Street. The purpose, you want to go to the site plan, please. The purpose is to allow an additional driveway for future development on a portion of the site. So in this picture, north is to your right. This is Rock Road, so this way is going north. When it was platted, complete access control was set except for this entrance into a much larger manufacturing industrial site for the access to their parking lot, and then it provided access down to East 35th Street North. The applicant is looking to develop this southeast corner or southwest corner of the site with a new type of development, and they're looking for their own access point onto Rock Road. This is just leftover space from the larger site. The proposed location of the site does not meet the access management standards for an arterial street because it is less than 400 feet from additional full movement access being East 36th Street. In addition, there's a full access movement right here across the street for Brahms. And then you also have 35th Street here as well. Talking with traffic engineering, they do object to the location of a full movement access at this location because of possible conflicting left turns with East 36th Street, as well as conflicts with the driveway into Brahms. So they do not want a full movement access at that location. They're okay with this access point being right in, right out. If there is a median constructed that would allow for turns into 36th Street, essentially managing the turns as well, but would physically prohibit left-hand turns outside. This was actually clear up conflicts with this as well. This would effectively become a right in, right out as well. However, traffic engineering is okay with a full movement access as far south on the property, closer to 35th Street. And talking with traffic engineering, they're okay with 2 full movement access points being East 35th Street and a possible driveway here because of the very low traffic count on 35th Street. So the applicant does have the option of providing us with a revised legal description for a different location of access control farther south towards East 35th Street. And I sent this information to the agent ahead of time prior to today's meeting, and I have not heard back from them on their preference, so I guess we'll hear from them on what their preference would be. So from traffic engineering's point of view is either the current location being right in, right out, or a full movement location farther south towards East 35th Street. Evergy does not object to the vacation. They have poles and lines and underground equipment running north to south along North Rock Road. Any relocation would be at the applicant's expense. Cox does not object as well. They have buried coax and fiber in the area, and any relocation would be at the applicant's expense as well. There's been no public comment and no other Public Works does not object. They do have a water line, but again, all these things underground should not necessarily be affected from the construction of a driveway over top of them. And with that, I can stand for any questions.
Questions from the commission for staff? Any comments from the advisory board?
Rondi with Evergy, 4025 North Tobin. No additional comment.
Is the applicant or agent available? Okay. You'll have 10 minutes, and please state your name and address.
My name is Kobe Pietro. I'm the agent on the project 9139 East 37th Street. After talking with the ownership group, the plan is to move the drive further south to conform to the traffic requirements. So I will get a revised legal back to the planning team so we can get that moved through. So we'll have that done before the planning commission meeting next week. But other than that, we agree with all the other comments, and I'll open this up for any questions you guys have.
Any questions for the applicant? All right, hearing none, is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to commission.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve for staff comments along with the revised location of the drive.
Okay,
Second.
motion made by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Williams-Bay. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes 6-0, and let the record show Commissioner Blick is here now. Next case will be vacation item 2024-55, located on the north side of North Reese Street and within 650 feet of West Street North. We have the staff report, please.
Yes, sir. Again, Philip Zievenbergen for the record. Vacation 2455 is a request to vacate a portion of a platted front setback on multiple lots on property located south of West 21st Street and west of North 151st Street West. These lots have not been developed. They are all under the same ownership. They were recently platted in 2023. The applicant is requesting to vacate the essentially north 5 feet of the 25-foot platted setback. It would reduce the setback to 20 feet for future construction of dwellings, whether single family or duplex. It is zone TF3, so it could support either. It'd be on lots 17, 18, 19, and 20 of block 4 of the Area 151 addition. If these setbacks were not platted and there were just zoning setbacks in the TF3 zoning district, the applicant could have submitted administrative adjustment to reduce it down to 20. So the approval of this would not reduce them farther than what could be handled administratively through a zoning setback had they not been platted. We have not heard any public comments. There have been no objections from utilities. If there are any utilities in the area that would have to be relocated, which they likely wouldn't have to be, it'd be at the applicant's expense, and I can stand for any questions.
Questions from the commissioners? Seeing none. Comments from the advisory board?
No additional comment?
Okay. Applicant or agent, please, you'll have 10 minutes. Please state your name and address.
Good morning. Will Clevenger with Garver here on behalf of the applicant. Address is 1995 Midfield Road, Wichita, Kansas, 67209. We're in agreement with staff comments, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right. Any questions or comments from the board? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bring it back to the commission. Oh, I'm sorry. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this? Okay. Commissioner, thank you.
Move to approve for staff comments.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Williams-Bay and a second by, was it you? Bill, did you second that? Oh, I'm sorry, seconded by Blick. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. Next case will be vacation 2024-56. Request to vacate a portion of a 30-foot front yard setback at the intersection of Columbine Lane and Richmond Avenue. Have the staff report, please.
Yes, vacation 2456 is a request to vacate a platted setback from 30 feet down to 15 feet. The property is addressed as 2380 North Richmond Avenue. If you want to go to the site plan, please. As you can see, this lot has a curved frontage, and had it been a standard rectangular lot, the southern portion of the lot would be considered the front, which in the SF5 zoning district would have only had a 25-foot zoning setback. So even the platted setback of 30 feet is 5 feet greater than that. With this having a predominantly straight portion along Richmond Avenue, it effectively is acting as a street side setback, which in the SF5 district would have been 15 feet had it been not platted. And so the request to reduce it down to 15 feet for essentially a street side setback does not exceed even what the standard zoning setback would have been on the site had it not been platted. They likely platted it because of the curved nature of it, and given the curved nature of it, the orientation of the house is essentially what makes sense. So they effectively wanted to be a front setback for the entire portion of it. But in this area of it, it essentially acts as a street side setback, and they're not exceeding what the zoning requirements would have been for the site. Wichita Public Works, Traffic Engineering, and Fire do not object. Traffic Engineering has indicated that if it's approved, the proposed garage would not pose any site obstructions along the curve. Cox and Evergy do not have any objections. There are no lines or equipment in the area. There are lines along the north side of the site, so Evergy requests that they work with the area representative regarding proper clearance between overhead lines and the proposed garage, but that should have no impact on possible approval today. The staff report has that contact information for the applicant so that future construction of the garage can meet those standards. I've not heard any public comment regarding this, and I can stand for any questions.
Questions from the commissioners? Comments from the advisory board?
Rondi with Evergy, no additional comment.
Okay. Is the applicant or agent available, please? Please state your name and address. You'll have 10 minutes.
Mark Savoy with BHC Engineers, 165 South Rock Island, Wichita, Kansas. We're in agreement with staff comments.
Okay, you're also aware of the document that Evergy provided for the overhead stuff?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Blick?
I have a question. Are you going to use the existing driveway or are you going to widen the driveway you have now?
You know, that's a good question. I think they're going to try to use that same driveway and curve over into that garage. Kind of a side, probably be a side garage door more than it would be a front.
And this is proposed as just a garage, not an additional living?
No, it's just a garage.
Okay. And the size, is it for like a motorhome or something like that? I'm trying.
It's going to be fairly deep, east and west. I don't remember the size that he was proposing. So it will be longer east and west than it is north and south.
Yeah, I was looking at the aerial for the residents around there, and I do see an RV that's down to the south, so that's the reason why I asked that question.
It could be.
Yeah, thank you.
Other questions? Okay, thanks you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission.
Move to approve per staff comment.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Klontz, second by Commissioner Johnson. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda is vacation request 2024-57. Request to vacate McLean Boulevard right-of-way and drainage facilities. Can we have the staff report?
Yes, sir. Again, Philip Ziebenbergen for the record. The applicants are requesting to vacate a portion of South McLean Boulevard right-of-way located south of West 47th Street West. And you can see it's about halfway between Seneca and Broadway. This portion of McLean Boulevard has two different additions that it was dedicated in. One of them is Lot 1, Block A of the Lang 4th Edition on the west, and Lot 1, Block A, Georgia Pacific Edition on the east. The vacation of the South McLean Boulevard was dedicated in the Georgia Pacific Edition, does not include any of the platted right-of-way south of West 50th Street. Other properties farther south abutting the right-of-way, one such property is unplatted, and the other is platted in the Sycamore Pond Edition. So this is the unplatted property, and this is property platted in the Sycamore Pond Edition. So the platted portion of McLean Boulevard, none of it's constructed, technically continues farther south, but they're only requesting to vacate from 47th Street down to 50th Street. None of the Sycamore Pond Edition dedicated any other right-of-way, and again, this property right here is unplatted. This is one of the applicant's property, and this is the other applicant's property. If you want to go to the aerial, please. If approved, it would permit development of the unutilized right-of-way. For reference, if you guys you're probably fairly familiar where McLean Boulevard ends, but just as a reminder, it ends north of 31st Street. So it's quite a ways before you would even get to this portion. And when these were platted, there was possibly, obviously, the intent to continue McLean Boulevard going south, but it never got south of 31st Street. And I don't believe there's any intention of continuing it south of that at this point. Regarding this unplatted property, it has access from South Laclede and as well as West 48th Street, not to mention in the Sycamore Pond Edition, South Sycamore Avenue is a stub street, which could provide future access to the unplatted property as well. So even if McLean Boulevard is vacated, it is not the sole point of access. And so they could get access in from 47th or 50th Street here goes all the way west to Seneca. So there's multiple points for future access if this property here were to ever be developed. There are no public utilities in the right-of-way. Public Works, Traffic Engineering, and Stormwater do not have any objection. Evergy or Cox do not have an objection to the vacation. Evergy does not have any lines or equipment, and any relocation of Cox lines and equipment would have to be at the applicant's expense. I've heard one public comment. It was from an individual on the north side of West 47th Street, and when describing the project and what was actually happening, they realized it wasn't affecting their property in any way, and they did not pose any objection to it. They were just a little confused as to what was being asked for.
Go ahead,
So
Scott.
as part of the staff presentation, I'd like to add, I believe that this is part of a proposed bikeway. And if we could defer this item to the end of the meeting, that would give me time to confirm that. It looks like this is part of the Gold Street and former railroad right-of-way that goes all the way up to McLean Park and down south to the Big Ditch with the former railroad crossing over the Big Ditch to Hayesville. So I've just looked at it very quickly, and it appears that it's that. I'd like to get a chance to confirm that.
Yeah, I was having what is your request, Scott?
My request is, if the committee would be willing, if you could defer this as an item to the end of today's agenda, that would give me time to run back and check some maps to make sure whether or not this is a proposed bikeway. I think that might, either I could be wrong and there may be no issues with it, or I could be correct and may have caught something that we didn't catch during our initial review.
Okay. So are you asking to stop this at this point and take it up at the end?
I believe you would have to make a motion to do that, but if you would be willing to defer it to the end of today's agenda, that would give me an opportunity to do research, and that would also allow the applicant to get an answer by the end of the meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to defer this to the end, and I think you're right, because there is trails all back in there quite a bit already, so I don't know.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Blick, a second by Mr. Johnson. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We'll take this up later. Next case is vacation request 2024-58. Vacate a 20-foot utility easement generally located on the northwest corner of West Maple and North McLean. We have the staff report, please.
Yes, the applicants for vacation 2458 are requesting to vacate multiple things. If you want to pull up the map, please. So on Lot 2, Block 1, which is the northwest portion of the property, they're requesting to vacate a portion of a 20-foot utility easement that fronts along Maple. And they're also looking to vacate a portion of a 25-foot sewer easement that is this area here that's directly north of that utility easement and eventually just runs into the utility easement. On Lot 1, Block 2 of the same addition, you have two different requests. One is a vacation of a 10-foot by 10-foot sewer easement here along McLean, and a 15-foot water easement along South McLean Boulevard as well. Subject site is zone PUD 61. As you can see, it's located on the northwest and northeast corners of West Maple and South McLean Boulevard. The primary use within the PUD is Riverfront Stadium, which is developed primarily over here. The purpose of the vacation is to allow for, on this side, construction of a building that would wrap around the southeast portion of the stadium and would be attached to the stadium. And on the east side of McLean, the proposed development is a hotel.
Could I interrupt a second?
Yes, sir.
Are you using revised staff report version 2?
Yes, I am.
Okay, just so everybody's on the
Yep.
same page.
Thank you, sir. Let me pause and say you did receive a revised staff report, and that is what I am reading from. We got some revised comments from Public Works and Utilities.
Okay.
So regarding Lot 2, Block 1, again, which is the larger of the two, Wichita Fire has no objection. Stormwater does not have any objection. Traffic Engineering had the following comment. There's a signal controller located in the 20-foot utility easement, so that's this right here. A portion of the utility easement should be retained for the controller box, or the applicant will have to pay to relocate it. Relocation must be done by a local contractor. The applicant can work with traffic engineering on any possible location contractors to complete the work. There's also fiber optic cable in the 20-foot utility easement, and the applicant will have to work with city IT regarding the relocation of this cable if it's possible. It's connecting a couple city buildings with fiber optic cable. The revised Wichita Public Works and Utilities comment is, if you go to the aerial map that shows the utilities, please. There's a sewer main that runs through effectively both of these combined that you can see here. And Wichita Public Works and Utilities is requesting to retain a 20-foot easement to be center lined on the sanitary sewer. And there was an updated exhibit to your revised staff report that identifies the Public Works comments as well as what they are in reference to. If relocation is possible, it would have to be coordinated with Public Works and Utilities. Evergy does not object to the vacation. There's a street light in the right-of-way along West Maple, and there's underground equipment in a portion of the 20-foot utility easement. Any relocation would be at the applicant's expense. Cox does not object to the vacation. They have an empty conduit for future use in the vacation area, and any relocation of Cox lines or equipment would be at the applicant's expense. So that's everything for this northwest portion of the project. Moving on to Lot 1, Block 2, which again is on the east side. Fire doesn't have any objection. Wichita Stormwater has no objection. Traffic Engineering does not have any objection. The revised Public Works comment is that they would need to retain the south 20 feet of the water line easement, so approximately this area here, and retain the western 7 feet of the utility easement, and that is to provide appropriate clearance away from this manhole for any access to it for maintenance or other things that they need to do. Evergy does not object to the vacation. They do not have any lines or equipment in this area. Cox has an empty conduit for future use in the vacation area, and any relocation would be at the applicant's expense. I haven't heard any public comment regarding this, and I can stand for any questions.
Questions from the commission or staff? Comments from the advisory board?
Nick Tinsley is the area rep, and he's working with the applicant. I believe there is a transformer that is farther north behind the seating by the building to the north of this area that we're going to be relocating. And so he's working with them on that.
Thank you. Is the applicant or agent available? Name and address, please, and you'll have 10 minutes.
Jay Cook, Boffman Company, 315 South Ellis, agent on behalf of the applicant. I want to start with Lot 1, Block 2, the east side of McLean, with Public Works recommendations. I'm not sure if you have the revised exhibit that it's not on there. That's fine. So maintaining the south 20 feet, we're fine with that. We were going to try to just clean this up. We didn't think anything was in it, so that's why we were vacating it. But maintaining the south 20 feet as proposed by Public Works is certainly okay with us. This sewer line easement, this manhole that Philip was mentioning, there's going to be an overhang on the hotel that's going to be built there. That's why we were asking to vacate that. If needed, we can always, we could do an easement use permit on that. I think the overhang's gonna be about 12 to 14 feet, so we can work with the city on how to properly take care of that issue. On the west side of McLean, the way the building is gonna be and the kind of shape of this lot, this sewer easement is not incompatible. It is incompatible with the building that we're trying to do. What we're wanting to actually do is dedicate an easement that kind of comes up and goes beneath the building up and meets into this manhole here. That's what we were requesting. That'd be the only way that we could get the building fit on the site. So maintaining that 20 feet of easement would not be possible. The development team has been in conversation with Public Works, and from my understanding, everything was maybe verbally okay with that. So we're willing to work with Public Works on that and dedicate an easement if we could vacate what's currently there and move it underneath the building. And I'll stand for any questions.
Question? Commissioner Blick?
I have a question for you. You brought this got brought to us before to approve the zone for that building and stuff. Do you guys not look at those sewer lines and electrical lines and all that before you even present a building to us to see if it would fit or not? It seems like we're just we're coming back later on and saying, hey, we have a situation now. We didn't do our due diligence on actually looking at water lines and all that before we tried to fit this oversized puzzle piece over in this corner.
So all the, when we do a rezoning and that sort of thing, that's the first step in the process. The vacation comes once we realize the best way to optimize the property with a building and what might be in the way of that.
I just see that you guys, if you're going to build the building, you probably need to look underneath the ground and know where everything's at before you propose it. But that's just my opinion.
Does Public Works have a comment about what he's talking about?
Chris with City of Wichita Water Department. You might need to be a little bit further along in the process before this can be vacated. We still have a sewer line in the ground here. So I'm not sure we can vacate it with a City of Wichita 8-inch public sewer in it. So I'm not sure who you were talking to, but maybe just the timing needs to be.
I couldn't hear you. What was that last thing you said?
We have a public sewer in the ground here. We just need to protect what we have in the ground. Excuse me. So maybe the timing's off a little bit. If you have a project coming through, that's fine. But we still have it in the ground and we still need to protect it. So whenever that line is abandoned, then we can vacate it.
From my understanding, the development team has been in constant conversation with the city, with Public Works, and from what I've been told, been given the, not the okay, but the, I think that's possible to utilize, to move this sewer line. We're going to maintain the sewer line. It's just going to be moved underneath the building with a dedicated easement for the city. We're not asking sewer to stop. We're just asking to vacate it here so we can fit the building and then move the easement kind of in a way like this to still have it there.
City Engineering.
Yeah, Matt Schultz, City Engineering. So what Chris is getting at is that we have an operational sanitary sewer here. If we vacate it, then we will have a line on a private property. So he's saying this is not the time to do that, which I would agree. And the staff that have been in discussion with this don't normally attend this meeting. That's my supervisor. I would need to discuss it with him and see where he's at with this. But I've only seen a slight preliminary plan. I think a parking garage maybe is going there with a proposed line, and I don't think that that private project has been approved yet. But I don't know for certain. I'll just have to get back and look at it. But between those 2 points, I would recommend this probably needs to be deferred till a later date, so we don't have a line on on private property, and that gives us time to discuss it with them.
Okay, thank you. Phil?
Just some information regarding typically how these projects work, and I'm not overstepping Public Works' comment, just FYI information of in cases like this where a if this were to be approved, subject to a dedication of new easement, we don't send it on to city council for final action that actually vacates it until the easement is dedicated and we get a copy of that. Or the easement information is sent along with it and therefore is recorded along with the vacation order. So you essentially, what it doesn't do is it doesn't magically make the sewer line change places. So you would have a dedicated easement, you would just have a sewer line in the wrong location at that point, but the easement would then be there to have the opportunity for that sewer to be moved. I don't know how that interacts with a private project, but again, that's just more information of like, when these have a condition that an easement needs to be dedicated, they don't get vacated until that easement is dedicated. And so that's just something for the board to consider regarding how that interacts with Public Works' comment of possibly the need to have proof that a private project is approved that would essentially facilitate the relocation of the sewer line in a forthcoming dedicated new easement away from this one.
So it sounds like our two choices are to delay this or approve it with conditions that may never get resolved. Is that where we're at?
If I could just add or just speak to this again, I'm just asking that we would protect our existing line for now. Whether that new one gets dedicated, that's fine, that new one gets built, but we still need to protect our existing public line with an easement until it's abandoned. So whether you guys can put conditions on it now or whatever, I don't want to lose that easement while we still have a working sewer line.
So I would definitely defer to Public Works if this is their line. You know, this situation is apparently a chicken and the egg thing where you kind of need the new stuff in place to be able to move the line, but that doesn't necessarily protect the old line. So I will defer to Public Works. And just kind of a question for Public Works is conditions to require a new easement. How does that interact with a private project? So when a private project gets approved, that essentially green lights the construction of the new line, is that correct?
Matt Schultz, City Engineering. So when we approve a private project, we're giving our okay for them to start the construction, but I don't know when that would occur.
Right.
So I mean, they've gone through their, essentially just our review, and then it's up to them. They got the okay, but we don't really control anything after that. We'll do some final inspections on the project, but that's it.
One more question for Public Works, and this is more for just information for the board as well. At what point in the process of like the private project review or possibly approval is essentially the comfort zone to say, we know our line is protected up until a point and we now know a new line is going to be constructed. So we're okay with the current easement being vacated in anticipation of the new line and a new easement being constructed.
Matt Schultz, City Public Works. So answering that question, I would say that once we've redirected the flow and the new line is, installed and operational, then the other one can be abandoned along with the easement.
So your perspective, just to reiterate, is essentially you're okay with the current easement being vacated after a new line is in the ground and functional?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Not sure how that factors in the conditions or anything, but that's at least information for the board to consider.
Any other questions? Okay. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to commission. Commissioner Johnson.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve it with the understanding that they will continue work with Public Works and get the new sewer laid out so that we can abandon this sewer line. This is done all the time, so just a matter of keeping everything in line. And like Philip said, it won't go to the city council till this is all done.
So just for clarification, with the number of items that need to be considered in the motion, it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, that they're okay with retaining the southern 20 feet of the water line easement on lot 1, and that the wet 7 feet is okay too. So they're okay with staff comments regarding lot 1, block 2. Those are these easements here. So those would be.
That's correct.
Essentially, we'd get revised legal descriptions for those, for what portions of those would be vacated based on Public Works comments. And then the approval would vacate all of this with the understanding that a dedication of a new easement and the requirement to provide and have a private project approved by Public Works would be in place prior to going to City Council.
Yes.
Okay.
I will second that. Any discussion? Commissioner Blick.
I got a substitute motion to approve lot 1 with all the same things that was just said and exclude lot 2 out of this application. And so all we're doing is just approving the one side until they can work it out through the city, because the city's asked for a deferral. I think they need more time to work this out with them instead of just us rubber stamping and pushing it on. I think that they need to work out some things. And I think I'll just lot 1 approval and all those except excluding lot 2.
Commissioner Johnson.
How long are you going to defer it? You going to set a date?
Let me ask staff.
I mean, my motion does the same thing because it's not going to city council till it's worked out.
Yeah, but they also are saying there's certain people have approved it. The applicant, when staff here says they're not for sure if that was actually approved or consented on or whatever. I think they need to work out some things, and I think if we extend it, do you think 2 more weeks to talk to your supervisors and everybody?
Yes, I can definitely talk to them by then and then have an answer. If we do just approve it today, how does that, I guess, affect the process for the other easements? Do we? So I'm trying to.
Right. I would say because this is under one application, we essentially have to do one action for both things, like to essentially move items along for lot 1 and split it up. We don't have 2 case numbers to split it up and have 2 things go separately. So essentially, if items on lot 2, block 1 get delayed, well, that's going to delay these as well because it was submitted as one package and it would have to move forward as one package. Again, anything even decided by Planning Commission next week doesn't get formally approved or vacated until all conditions are met. And that's when it goes to City Council for final action.
Okay, I'm going to bring it back. We have a substitute motion. Commissioner Blick, do we have a second on that? Okay, that motion dies for lack of a second. So we'll bring it back to the original motion from Commissioner Johnson, which I seconded. Any further discussion on that?
Could we repeat the motion, please?
I can't, I'm sorry, I didn't.
Could you repeat the motion, please?
We're going to approve the motion with the first part of the vacation where they're agreed with staff comments, with the approval of the other easement being vacated, with the understanding that the applicant, her agent, has to get worked out with Public Works and agreed to vacating that easement before it goes to City Council.
Okay, all in favor?
Mr.
say
Chairman,
aye.
could we just add just a little bit more to that?
I'm sorry?
Could we just be a little more specific on that second part that's being conditional? Perhaps Philip could restate it again?
Yes, so the motion was to approve, subject to the revised comments from Public Works regarding Lot 1, Block 2, and the revised comments was to retain the south 20 feet of this 15-foot water easement and the west 7 feet of the sewer easement here. And then the motion was to approve the vacation of the 25-foot utility easement and the 20-foot sewer easement with the condition that a new easement has to be dedicated and the submittal and approval of a private project for the relocation of the sanitary sewer line.
That's correct.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it passes 5-1. Now we are into the subdivision cases. First one will be subdivision 2024-51, a final plat for Charisse Point Edition, located west of MacArthur Road within a half a mile of 119th Street West. Can we have the staff report, please?
Good morning, Greg Sharon, planning staff here to present subdivision 2451 Charisse Point Edition. This is a final plat for a 15-lot residential subdivision in the county and within 3 miles of Wichita. The applicant will request a zone change from SF20 single family to 2F3 two family. And the applicant states that they are proposing annexation into the city of Wichita. This is a replat of lots 1, 2, and 3, Block B of Charisse Woods Edition. There are access controls with 50-foot opening to access 14 of the lots along West Charisse Court off MacArthur, and a 130-foot opening to access lot 15 off West MacArthur via a separate private access easement. There are no waivers requested by applicant. Go through staff comments. City of Wichita Public Works requires water to extend to all lots 1 through 14, lots 1 through 15 for sanitary sewer. Fees are due. Existing specials will be spread on a 2 square foot basis in absence of a respread agreement. Revisions to platter's text and additional note was added after the staff report was written that a utility plan is requested with sanitary plan depths, and additional easement may be requested once it has been revised. Item B, county stormwater management. Drainage plan was submitted but is not approved, and requested revisions on 10/10/24. The applicant has not responded. Item C, city stormwater management. This was a carryover comment from the preliminary plat, which states the drainage concept plan was submitted on 10/10/24 and approved on 10/10/24. Item D, county fire requests access drives to comply with code and requests a 75-foot radius for the cul-de-sac. This was a comment carried over also from the preliminary plat. City Fire approves of the plat. Item F, County Public Works states that street name should be West MacArthur Court. Advises all the years listed changes the plat to 2025 and states that complete access control should be clearly labeled. GIS requests the street name from Charisse Court to Circle. Planning revisions to platters text additions and signature revisions. Item A, standard comment, city health comment regarding irrigation wells. Item J, county surveyor, all comments have been addressed. And item K, FG has reviewed plat and will need to request additional easements, and those have been forwarded to the agent, and street light placement will need to be approved by traffic engineering. And with that, I stand for questions.
Yes,
Yeah,
Mr. Johnson?
Mr. Chairman, I got no financial interest in this, but it may appear that I do, so I'm going to abstain.
Thank you. I may have missed this, but is the drainage plan still not approved, or has it been approved?
I spoke with the Sedgwick County stormwater engineer this morning, and he does not have a drainage plan yet. Do you have a drainage plan, Joe?
We have a drainage plan associated with the preliminary plat, which is pretty detailed back in October. I don't understand what your guys' question is. I would propose that we get together with the applicant and resolve it. It sounds like a minor issue.
Yeah, so I think the confusion on here is we had a drainage concept submitted in October, and concept plans are associated with preliminary plats. They're not a final drainage plan at that point. So I know that there were revisions requested on that. Sounds like it was close, but we have not seen the drainage plan yet.
Okay, yes.
I would this is Joe Hickle, City Stormwater. I would just add, I think we can resolve this by your meeting next week.
Okay, thank you.
Rodney with Evergy, there are no streetlights for this plat. It's a county plat. Sorry about that.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes. County.
Daniel with Sedgwick County Public Works. So when this plat was submitted, I believe it was submitted as a county plat, but it is being requested for annexation into the city of Wichita.
Okay. Yes.
Chris with the City of Wichita Water Department. We had requested a utility plan with planned sewer depths. The sewer to the north is a little bit shallow, and so we just wanted to confirm that you had the appropriate depth for all the lots that are proposed.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. We'll ask the applicant or agent to come up. You will have 10 minutes, and please state your name and address.
Kobe Pietro with Cobb Valley Engineering on behalf of the applicant, 9139 East 37th Street. Just want to clarify a few points on here. On the preliminary plat we discussed, there was 2 comments. City said for the as far as the fire goes, county requested 75 foot and city requested 70. I was told we went with the city option on that. Is that still the case on this, or do we need to abide by county requirements on that?
Robert Timmons with Sedgwick County Fire. Being submitted as a county plat, it needs to comply with county rules. It even says here on the City of Wichita Public Works, if it does not request annexation and outside the city water agreement. So, yeah, if you go into the city, then it will meet the city's requirements, but if it stays as a county property, then it does not comply with the fire code.
Okay. And then similarly, County Public Works requested the street name change to West MacArthur Court, while JS requested from Sharice Court to Sharice Circle. We have 2 differing comments there. Which one do we follow on that?
I'll defer to GIS on their recommendation.
Other than that, it was my understanding that we had submitted the utility plan and drainage plan. Sounds like we have not, so I will make sure that gets sent to everybody. And then I can get together with county and city stormwater and make sure we get that all resolved before the next meeting. Other than that, we agree with all staff comments. I'll open this up for any questions.
Okay. Questions for the applicant? Yes.
Just to reiterate, we still need the sanitary sewer depths.
Yep.
These lots aren't big enough to have septic on them, so they would be, they would not have any sewer service if they don't have the depth.
Okay. I'll make sure the utility plan includes depths on those, on the sanitary manholes and everything.
Other questions? All right, thank you. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak to this? All right, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. What's your pleasure?
I'd like to motion to approve with the conditions that the drainage plan is met, the sewer is met, and the cul-de-sac radius is also met with the fire code.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Yes.
On the cul-de-sac radius, this is being annexed into the city of Wichita. At least that's what's been proposed per an email on Tuesday. So I think the cul-de-sac radius would defer to the city of Wichita standard, correct?
Jose O'Cady's Wichita Fire. I'm in agreement with Chief Timmons on his remarks requiring the turnaround to meet county turnaround requirements due to initially right now the plat is still in county limits.
Okay, we have a motion. Did we get a second? Okay, I'm sorry. I have a motion by Commissioner Clontz, second by Commissioner Blick. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? That passes 5-0 with one abstention. Commissioner Johnson.
Can we also have those updates before that, when it comes before, verbally instead of in writing when it's presented the next time, if those have been overcome?
State that again.
Can we get those on your presentation when you do this at our main board with everybody? Can you make sure that that's verbally known if it was done or completed? All right, instead of just in writing. Thank you.
Yep.
Ready? Move on. Our next subdivision case is 2024-63, one-step final plat on River Bend Estates, located at West 95th Street South and South 311th Street. This is in the county. May we have the staff report?
Good morning, Greg Sharon, planning staff, here to present River Bend Estates. This is a one-step final plat for a 3-lot residential subdivision located in the county. If you go to the next screen, please. And then the next screen. Access to the site is along West 95th Street South and West 95th Street. Along West 96th Street South with one 40-foot opening, and proposed lots 1 and 3 will be accessed off South 311th Street via 40-foot joint access easement, and lot 2 will be accessed off West 95th Street South via 40-foot access easement. There are no waivers requested by the applicant. Staff comments, item A, MABCD notes that soils work has been completed and a memo has been written. Item B, county stormwater management drainage plan has been approved. Item C, county fire comment regarding compliance with service drive codes. Item D, public works states that block letter needs to be added, and driveway closure certificate will be needed in lieu of a guarantee. Item E, planning department request label of joint access easement, revisions to signatures, minimum building pad elevations, and additions to the platter's text. Item F, county surveying states benchmark data needs to be included. Item G, Evergy notes that this is outside of Evergy distribution and no transmission. And item H, Sedgwick County Electric Co-op will need to request additional easements. Those have been forwarded to the agent to be included on the plat. And with that, I will stand for questions.
Questions from the commissioner? None. Comments from the advisory board?
Rondi with Evergy, no additional comment.
Okay, thank you. Is the owner or applicant available? Please state your name and address, and you'll have 10 minutes.
Good morning, Dan Garber with Garber Surveying, 2908 North Plum in Hutchinson and 544 West Douglas in Wichita. We are in agreement with staff comments and we'd stand for any questions.
Okay. Questions from the commissioners? Or anyone? All right, thank you. Bring it back to the commission. Oh, I'm sorry. Anyone from the public would like to speak to this? We don't have a lot of public here, so. What's your pleasure?
Move to approve for staff comments.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Johnson, a second by Commissioner Williams Bay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. Our next case will be subdivision 2024-64. One-step final plat for the Reber Third Edition, located south side of East Central Avenue and a quarter-mile north of 143rd Street East. It's within the city. Can we have the staff report?
Good morning, Greg Sharon, planning staff here to present the Reber Third Edition. This is a one-step final plat for 107 lot residential subdivision located within the city. This is a replat of the Reber Second Edition. If you go to the next screen, please. Next screen. And then the next screen. Access to the subdivision will be located off of East Central Avenue, and the secondary point of access to the subdivision via Brookdale Drive is through the Reber Second Edition located east of this plat. Go through the waivers. There are 4 waivers that will requested by the applicant. The first one is for hammerhead turnaround in lieu of the circle turnaround. This waiver will need to be contingent upon the approval of the hammerhead turnaround by the City of Wichita Fire Department. The second waiver to allow street length of more than 800 feet and no emergency access easement for Spring Hollow Street, Brookdale Drive, and St. Andrews Court. And this waiver is also contingent upon approval of the City of Wichita Fire Department. The third waiver requested is to allow access to streets through reserve strips, sorry. And that reserve strip is to the west of the proposed hammerhead, to the subdivision to the west of that property. So they are proposing a fire apparatus road through a reserve strip from the subdivision to the west to this proposed subdivision. Item 4, lot depth to width ratio for lots 39, 40, 90 through 97, Block A, and lots 9 and 10, Block B. Go through staff comments. We did get comments from Public Works and Utilities. I believe there were some sickness in the department, and with vacations and the holidays, those comments weren't received till after we had prepared the staff report. So I will go ahead and read through the comments that we received from Public Works. Requires water and sanitary sewer to be extended at all lots and blocks. Water transmission, acquisition, and sanitary sewer main acquisition fees are due for all lots and blocks. A utility plan is requested with sanitary plan depths. Additional easement may be requested once it has been revised. Watch out for water main phasing. No more than 6 fire hydrants are allowed on unlooped water mains. Water meter removal certificate needs to be signed. Kills fees for 13777 East Central and 14201 East Central are due before any new connection to our distribution system for this plat are made, and access to water meters behind gate on private street St. Andrews Court needs to be worked out before we install new water meters on this street. And those comments have been forwarded to the agent once I received them. Item B, City Stormwater Management. Comments have not been received at this time of writing this report, so we can get an update from city stormwater management on that. Item C, city fire requires development of 1 or 2 family dwellings exceeding 30 shall be provided 2 separate access. They do approve of waiver 1 and waiver 2. And item D, city traffic engineering, left turn lanes are needed on Central for the approach on St. Andrews and approves access controls. Item E, standard environmental health comment regarding irrigation wells. Item F, County Public Works states lot 67, Block A is landlocked. Access controls are approved as shown and right-of-ways are approved as shown. Item G, since Narrow Street right-of-way is approved, restricted covenant will be needed. Item H, county surveying advises label of northeast corner of the section needs corrected. Item I, this is inside Evergy's territory, so I will update that note. So it is inside their territory, however, they do not, my understanding, they do not need additional easements at this time. And the street light placement will need to be approved by city traffic engineering. And with that, I will stand for questions.
Questions for staff? Advisory comments?
Rondi with Evergy, 4025 North Tobin. We have marked some streetlights on here that we're going to have to remove. They're on the private street sections on St. Andrews, so those won't be included. However, the one at the corner of St. Andrew and Oakwood will remain.
Chris with,
Yes, go ahead.
Chris with the City Wichita Water Department. We just received the utility plan this morning, so we're still reviewing it. So that'll be something we can still work out with Baughman if we need any more easement.
Okay.
Joe Hickle, City Stormwater. The drainage plan was approved December 30th last year.
Daniel Schramm with Sedgwick County Public Works. Sedgwick County maintains Central Avenue, and we are in agreement with city traffic on the need for left turn lanes.
Okay. No further questions. We'll have the applicant or agent state your name and address, and we have 10 minutes.
Chris Rose with Baughman Company, agent for the applicant, 315 Ellis, Wichita, Kansas, 211, thanks. It's been a week. So, the applicant does agree with staff comments. We agree with the comments from Public Works. We will meet with Fire on their comments, and I did forget to add the language for lot 67 there for Reserve F, so that there's allowed access, so it won't be landlocked anymore. And I will stand for any questions you might have.
Okay, could you go through the 4 waivers real quick and tell us where you stand? I believe you said you're okay with all of them, but.
Yeah, I don't see any issues with any of the waivers.
Okay. Other questions for the agent? Yes, Commissioner Blick?
Yeah, Chris, I think you answered my question. Lot 67, I seen that Reserve F over there. It looked like it was going to be landlocked. So 64, is it going to come at the end of that hammerhead?
Yeah,
on the opposite side of that hammerhead?
Yeah, it'll connect to right there.
So
we'll have access, and this here, I just totally forgot about Reserve or 67. I needed to have access there, so
this is something new, because normally at the end of the street, we have the hammerhead and there's usually no lots on the opposite side that's going to connect to it. So if you have residents that are parking out in the street or something like that, it kind of defeats the purpose of a hammerhead, doesn't it?
Well, when we designed these, so there's 2 different hammerheads that I've seen. One that we would call that meets the fire code, and the fire code is 20 foot wide. But when we do these kind of hammerheads, we make these the same width as the actual right-of-way. So they're 29 feet, so it would be exactly the same thing as the street to the south. The paved surface is exactly the same. So there is width in there to actually have some parking in there, if that's what you're concerned.
Gotcha, yeah.
So there might be some times where we have a hammerhead at the end of a street with no lots. We would probably build that just slightly different just to meet the fire code. But when we have actual residential lots on the end of these, we try to build them as an actual street, not necessarily just a fire turnaround, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. So it gives it access.
Yeah, and it gives them the parking area that we wouldn't get with a normal approved fire turnaround, per the code. We know that, and if we did something like that, we would probably no park it. Yeah, I mean, we understand the issues with fire, and we want to make sure that if we do have residential lots fronting that, we make it a wider standard than what would be allowed with the code. And if it's just something for a turnaround, then we would just do something with the code.
Sounds great. Thank you, Chris.
Other comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone from the public would like to speak on this? All right, I'll bring it back to the commission.
I'd like to make a motion to approve with staff's recommendation and then also staff's follow-up, just to make sure fire code and everything is good with the hammerhead and that Reserve F.
Does that include the 4 waivers?
Yes.
Also?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, do we also need to add the approval of city water on that utility plan?
I apologize. Yes, add in city water since I just seen it this morning.
All right. We have a motion. There's a second.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Blick, second by Commissioner Johnson. Any other discussion on this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0.
Morning, Greg
Our
Sharon.
next case, will be Subdivision 2024-65, one-step final plat for the Prairie Land Estates, located at the southeast corner of East 39th Street and 143rd Street East. It's in the county 3-mile ring. Please give us a staff report.
Morning, Greg Sharon. Here to represent Prairie Land Estates. It's located on 134th and 39th Street. This is a one-step final plat for a 5-lot subdivision within the county, 3 miles of the city of Wichita. Next screen, please. And then the next screen. So, complete access controls are indicated on South 144th Street East and East 39th Street South with 140-foot opening per right-of-way. Proposed lots 1 and 2 will be accessed off 39th Street via joint access easement, and proposed lots 3, 4, and 5 will be accessed off 143rd Street East via 40-foot access easement. There are no waivers requested by the applicant. Go through staff comments. Item A, MABCD, site is currently within Water District Number 3. If feasible, connection is recommended. However, soils work has been completed and a memo has been issued. There were Public Works and Utilities, City of Wichita Public Works Utility comments that have been submitted after the staff report was written, so I will go ahead and read those. No protest agreement for future extension of sanitary sewer, as a condition of which any application for sewer service waives the owner's rights to protest annexation by the City of Wichita. Sanitary sewer main benefit acquisition fee is owned if connecting to City of Wichita sanitary sewer in the future, and the 20-foot utility easement is requested along the north lines 3 through 5 running east and west. Item C, county stormwater management, a drainage plan has been approved. Item D, county fire comply with service drive code. Item E, county public works requests that the joint access and utility easement be separated. Item F, planning joint access easements to be labeled by separate instrument, and signatures need to be revised, and platter's text addition needs to be added to the platter's text. Item G, county surveyor easement needs to be located. Access easements for 1 and 2 need to be dimensioned in length and advises northwest corner of the plat needs to show existing ownership. Item H, utilities. I believe that maybe I forgot to put Evergy's comments in there. So if Evergy can comment on that. So with that, I would stand for questions.
Yeah, I think we are. Okay, questions for staff? Comments from the advisory board?
Rondi with Evergy. This is outside Evergy territory and there's no transmission near it.
Okay. I will call on the agent. You have 10 minutes. Please state your name and address.
Dan Garber, Garber Surveying, 2908 North Plum Street, Hutchinson, 544 West Douglas here in Wichita. We are in agreement with staff comments, including those that were given this morning from Public Works. So I stand for any questions.
Just because I know this will come up later, have you got with the rural water district and find out if they can?
We have not. I'll get with the owner and have that checked out.
Okay.
I think the owner would prefer to leave it individual wells until there's enough people out there to warrant, a line.
Matt Schultz, City Public Works. We don't have any water lines nearby. I don't think we're going to end up serving it, so it'd be either Wells or the Rural Water District. Otherwise, if we were to serve it, we would do the service area agreement would be required.
But we'll check with the Rural Water District.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you. Anyone from the public like to speak on this? Okay, I'll bring it back to the commission.
Move to approve for staff comments.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Klontz. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. Our next case will be Subdivision 2024-66. One-step final plat, Upland Estates, located at the southeast corner of East 77th Street North and 47th Street East. It's in the county 3-mile ring. So please have the staff report.
Morning, Greg Sharon. Planning staff here to present Upland Estates. This is a one-step final plat for a 6-lot residential subdivision located in the county and within 3 miles of the city of Wichita. Next screen, please. And then the next screen. Access to lots 1 and 5 will be accessed off North 47th Street via 40-foot joint access easement, and lots 2, 3, and 4 will be accessed off East 77th Street via joint access easement. There's one waiver requested by applicant, and that is lot depth ratio of subdivision regulations for lot 1. Go through staff comments, MABCD. Site is currently within Sedgwick County Rural Water District number 2. If feasible, connection is recommended. Soils works has been completed and a memo has been issued. Item B, County Stormwater Management drainage plan is approved as long as the applicant provides a cross-lot drainage agreement between the proposed lots. Item C, county fire comment regarding service drive code compliance. Item D, County Public Works states Lot 5 should not be granted access to 77th Street. States Lot 5 must have access to Oliver. States no lot splits shall be allowed due to access issues, and a note shall be placed on the plat. Comment number 4 states standard 660-foot right-of-way widths and intersection approaches shall be provided along Oliver and 77th Street based upon the center lines of the road, and advises in general flag lots are discouraged per subdivision regulations. Item E, planning staff comments, joint access to be by separate instrument. Lots 4 and 5 are flag lots, and they do not meet the 200-foot minimum lot requirement. Therefore, setback shall be platted at a location where a 200-foot minimum lot width can be established. North Oliver Street needs to be labeled as North 47th Street East, and signature needs to be revised. There are no surveying comments. And item G, Evergy has reviewed the plat and will need to request additional easements. And no street light placements will be marked, and Evergy Transmission has no comment as we do not hold any easements on the property being platted, and the applicant advised that they are dedicating an additional 30 feet of right-of-way. So Evergy Transmission poles will remain in the right-of-way. So with that, I will stand for questions.
Questions from the commission? Comments from the Utility Advisory Board?
Rondi with Evergy, 4024 of Tobin. I think we sent revised comments for the transmission line. Our real estate department verified that 69 kVA line along the south line of 77th Street North is actually in road right-of-way, which is why it wouldn't appear on the plat. They did show it on the preliminary. To ensure safe operations, Evergy Transmission would like to be consulted for any activities that occur under the line or within 25 feet of the structures. If possible, they would like the line shown on the plat, but we understand you don't have to, Dan. But we just want to ensure awareness of the safety.
Thank you. Any other questions? We'll call on the applicant or agent. You'll have to state your name and address again, and you'll have 10 minutes again.
I'm gonna have to get to just one address too, I think. Dan Garber, Garber Surveying, 2908 North Plum Street, Hutch, and 544 West Douglas here in Wichita. We are in agreement with the comments for Upland Estates, and so I'd stand for any comments that you might have.
Okay. Questions for the agent? Seeing none. Anyone from the public like to speak on this? Bring it back to the commission. I'll make a motion that we approve this per staff comments and the waiver that they have asked for.
Second.
Any additional comments? We have a motion by Zimbelman, second by Johnson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. Our final subdivision case will be 2024-67, one-step final plat, 29th and Greenwich Edition, located at the northeast corner of Greenwich and 29th. It's in the county 3-mile ring. We'll have the staff report.
Morning, Greg Sharon, planning staff here to present the 29th and Greenwich edition. Next screen, please. And then the next screen. So this is a one-step final plat for a 3-lot commercial subdivision in the county, but within the 3 miles of city of Wichita. It is associated with a CUP DP 359 and CUP 2447, which is a CUP amendment to allow an increase in both maximum building height and coverage. The applicant will be submitting a request to annex into the city of Wichita. Complete access controls are located along North Greenwich Road with one 60-foot full movement opening and one 45-foot right in, right out. The proposed lots 2 and 3 will be accessed off of North Greenwich Road via the 60-foot access easement and through lot 1 via 40-foot access easement. Proposed lot 1 will be accessed off both North Greenwich Road and East 29th Street North. There is one waiver that will be needed, and that is lot width ratio for lot 1. Subdivision regulations state that for non-residential lots shall not exceed 3 times the width. Go through staff comments. Item A, this is located within Rural Water District Number 1. If feasible, shall be connected. But since the annexation is proposed, my guess is they will be connecting to city utilities. Item B, received comments from Public Works and Utilities after the staff report was forwarded to staff. And so I would go through and read through the comments. State Public Works and Utilities requires that sanitary sewer be extended to all lots. Water is available to all lots from the 20-foot transmission main. Service connections will be limited. An 8-inch extension may be required depending on development, water transmission acquisition, sanitary sewer main acquisition, and water distribution in lieu of assessment fees are all due for lots. A guarantee is needed for the removal of abandoned water meters and service tap kills. A water meter removal certificate may be submitted in lieu of a guarantee. Platter's text shall state sanitary easements are hereby granted to the public as indicated for the construction and maintenance of public sanitary sewer lines. And this area has low water pressure. Those comments have been forwarded to the agent. Item C, County Stormwater Management states that drainage plan is not approved. The submitted plat does not satisfy the requirements found in the Wichita-Sedgwick County Stormwater Manual. Item D, City Stormwater Management states that drainage plan was submitted with the submittal but is not sufficient to achieve a final plat approval. Item E, plat shall comply with a service drive code. Item F, Wichita City Fire approve the plat. And item G, City Traffic Engineering shows access controls and openings along 29th Street. Access controls and openings shown are not approved until platted access controls and openings are shown for Kings Coast addition to the west and Greenwich Commons addition to the south. These are needed to review alignment of openings with those plats. And states 29th Street will require left turn auxiliary lanes for openings to this plat. City does not support the county's decision City does support the county's decision for auxiliary turn lanes along Greenwich. Item H, County Public Works states that access controls along Greenwich are not approved. Access control should be in general conformance with access management policy. Item I, Planning Department comments, access easement to be by separate instrument, relabeling of street names, note shall be added regarding the CUP, and signature revisions. Item J, County surveying, no comment. Item K, City Environmental Health, standard comment regarding irrigation wells when annexed into the city. Item L, Evergy has reviewed the plat and will not need to request additional easements at this time. So with that, I will stand for questions.
Questions from the commission? Comments from the advisory board?
Rondi with Evergy, no additional comment.
Daniel Tran with Sedgwick County Public Works. I just want to add in our comment that we are looking for auxiliary lanes along Greenwich as per the city of Wichita's comment.
Okay, thank you.
I do have one more comment.
All right.
Stephen Chronister is going to be leaving our area as a rep and be working with the major projects for road widenings and pole line. So it'll be John Unruh taking over. So if you can't get a hold of Stephen, John Unruh, 316-261-6213 will be the new rep for the area north of 29th and east of Broadway.
Joe Hickle, City Stormwater. Coordination with the county and the applicant, I think, is necessary to resolve the drainage plan. And we can maybe do that after this meeting right here. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
This is Chris from the City of Wichita Water Department. I just wanted to clarify, sorry for the late comments, but this is in City of Wichita water territory, not the Rural Water District number 1.
Okay, thank you. More questions? We will call on the applicant or agent. Please state your name and address, and you'll have 10 minutes.
Jay Odell with Aubrey Enterprises, 5912 Maple Street, and that's in Mission, Kansas. I hope to not take all 10 minutes, but just to address some of the comments, we did submit a revised drainage plan to the city and county. Have not heard back from the county. I just assumed because of the holidays and things like that. So I would agree with Mr. Hickle that we could probably get those things resolved after this meeting on what they needed, so we can get that over to you guys prior to next week's official meeting. And then on the access controls, it is our intention to match the north or the south and western developments, so that way those access points are in line with what's existing today, just so that there's no conflict that way. I think that was most of the outstanding stuff. If there's anything else here for any other questions?
Okay, there was quite a few items that need addressing on there. Did you see any of them that you are not in agreement with?
No, no, that's what.
Okay, any questions for the agent? Yes.
Yes, Matt Schultz, City Public Works. Do you have any intention of extending sewer on the east side of the property to the south?
So our intention for the sewer is to connect to the north, to the school. I don't know if there's a utility map, but there's a manhole that's in that access, their drive that we're in coordination with on them on doing on that connection. It's rather deep. It's like 30, 40 foot, and then basically run it to the south along Greenwich, and then over on lot 3, down, and then across. So to serve the whole thing from that point.
The reason I ask is the subdivision to the east there. I don't remember if they, it's undeveloped, it's been platted. I don't know if they plan to run sewer along your eastern border. So I'm a little just concerned that their plan is to serve with an extension from the northeast corner of the plat. There's an existing manhole. So I don't know if you would be objectable if I would check that out and let you know what the intention was, and if we needed an additional 10 foot on that eastern side to extend that sewer.
You're talking over on this area?
Yes, and then down south towards 29th Street.
Okay. When we were in contact with somebody, they said that we couldn't connect on that side, that they didn't have the capacity there or something. Yeah, I mean,
And that may be true. There may be no intent, and then
yeah. I mean, whatever works. We'll get that figured out.
And so if I can look at that and then just get with you, Jay, before next week's meeting, so we can get it figured out.
Yep, I'll be around.
Okay. Other questions? Thank you. Anyone from the public like to speak on this? Seeing none, bring it back to the commission.
Move to approve per staff comments with the understanding of the outstanding issues that have not been decided yet, and also the waiver.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion by Commissioner Johnson, a second by Commissioner Blick. Any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 6-0. Are you ready to reconvene on 57?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And it's just a brief update here, and I can do my portion from here. We've got another PowerPoint that we put together just to show you the graphics. So where we were in the process is that the staff presentation was going on. I would consider this as a conclusion of the staff presentation, and then that will allow you to go back to the applicant agent on this one. So, so this is the area that's requested to be vacated. Next slide, please. This is from our GIS system, and it reflects what's in the Wichita Bicycle Master Plan. And so it is showing a bicycle corridor somewhere in that vicinity. So, and my understanding is that it would use this corridor because this is what the city of Wichita has public access to. Next slide, please. This shows where this segment is in relationship to the larger network. So the dashed white lines that you see, that one that continues, there we go, to the east, is all either right-of-way or former railroad right-of-way that the city of Wichita acquired at some point many decades ago. And so the portion that splits off and goes to the west is an active rail line, so that is not probably feasible near term. But again, the branch that goes off to the east is. And it travels south to the big ditch, ultimately, and then there are piers or pylons that were driven for a former railroad bridge that crosses the big ditch. There's no decking on it at this point. If you drive on the turnpike, you can see it off to your right. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the actual map from the Wichita Bicycle Master Plan, just so that you can see, instead of just relying on GIS, so you can see what's actually in the plan. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So here it is outlined. Now you may ask the question, what are all the different colors and alternatives that we see there? Many of those are what's recommended for on-street developments. The only other path, there's a couple other forecasted paths here. One is along a drainage way, which I don't know is really feasible, and it curves quite a bit. Another one is along the river, which there are some issues there with having the right-of-way to be able to do it. This one was identified as a priority by the Wichita Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Board for multiple years. It's been one of their top 10 priorities. And it's because simply the city of Wichita already has access to the right-of-way. Next slide, please. This is what it looks like north of 47th Street. So I think, what was it, Carnival Cruise Line or something had their call center immediately to the east of this. This is where you can see access going to the north. Next slide. This is what it looks like at the south. Someone has put up an obstruction and encroached into the right-of-way, so shouldn't be there, but that's where that fence is. So in any case, so yes, as part of the staff report, I would just make you aware that this area that's proposed to be vacated is in the Wichita Bicycle Master Plan, has been identified for a path that would connect essentially to Hayesville and has been identified as one of the top 10 multiple years running by the Wichita Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Board.
So I'm assuming the applicant or agent knew this or did not know this when they,
I'll defer to them.
okay.
Jay Cook, Boffin Company, 315 South Ellis. I don't think anybody knew about this. We definitely didn't know. On the staff report, this, as Scott said, it kind of came up late. So we didn't know the bike plan was a part of that. So no, we did not.
So, Mr. Scott, how do we approach this from here?
Well, my recommendation, if we could, would be to defer this to the next subdivision meeting. That would give us an opportunity to get with the applicant and talk about what options, what their needs and desires are, and then what options might be available to try and accommodate that. I don't know what can be done. I don't know what the needs are, but that would give us an opportunity to circle up with the rest of the staff and figure out what the best options are.
Are you okay with deferring this?
Well, yeah, I can give you an idea. If we could go back, I don't know how many slides or to the other presentation. Maybe just go back a few slides so I can kind of see if there's something that shows. Is that it on the slides, Scott? Okay, this one's perfect. So the development we want to do is have a parking lot over here, and this is pretty heavy industrial. I don't know that a bike path is the best. I know the access is convenient, but being heavy industrial and zoned industrial throughout all of this is the best place for it. The intent would be to have a parking lot on the west side, with the industrial on the east and employees and box trucks going across that. So we could probably work some things out. If we need to talk about it for 2 weeks and get with staff, I could do that. But I'm not sure the feasibility of it from our standpoint at this time.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant or agent? Yes, Commissioner Blick.
So, since you didn't know about the bike plan, further south, do you see where that big building is? And you see that it notches down all the way down to where V's off, and then it also comes to the west. Those are all trails that are back in through there, that people ride trails back into all those lots around, and I guess they have some access through the railroad or something. They've been doing it for the last 20 years in that area. And with that residential growth that's coming to the south, where they're building all those houses, I could see that this would be a benefit of connecting, because I don't really see too many bike plans that are to the west all the way to West Street. This is going to be kind of an artery all the way up to downtown and kind of connect with everything else from Hayesville.
Okay, thank you. Other comments? Thank you, sir. I have to ask, is anyone from the public would like to speak on this? Seeing none. Bring it back to the commission. What would you like to do? Commissioner Johnson.
Since we don't have all the information, I'd be in favor of deferring this for 2 weeks.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Johnson and a second by Commissioner Williams Bay to defer this for 2 weeks. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. Is there any other business? I guess we're done.